I have a question for you, and I want you to be really honest with yourself. How is your relationship with your alarm clock right now?
Oh, boy.
Is it, a friendly reminder that a new day is dawning? Or is it more like the warden of your personal prison?
I think for most people, it's definitely the latter, isn't it?
I think so. And what about your calendar? Does looking at your week make you feel organized and, powerful? Or does it make you feel like you're already behind before you've even had your coffee?
It's a tyrant. For so many of us, the calendar is less of a tool and more of a tyrant. We just have this universal sense that we are constantly, racing against a clock that just refuses to stop.
Exactly. It's that relentless forward march of time, governed by deadlines, meeting invites.
It's exhausting.
It really is.
Yeah.
And the reason I bring this up is because today we are unpacking a really, really fascinating talk by Pastor Huzi Kim. Now, to set the context for everyone listening, this isn't just a general talk about time.
No, the context is so specific and really important.
It is. The source material is from a very specific date, Monday, February 23rd.
Right, and that's crucial because this isn't just any Monday. In the source, it's the first day back to the grind after the Lunar New Year. We're talking about coming off a 9-day holiday.
So just imagine you've been visiting relatives, maybe traveling, eating way too much good food, sleeping in.
Total freedom.
And then suddenly, boom, it's Monday morning. The party is over.
It's a massive shock to the system, a physiological and psychological shock. The source actually calls this transition re-entering the prison of the clock.
The prison of the clock, that's it. And that's really the mission of this deep dive. We're going to explore how to go from that vacation mode back to work mode without, losing your soul or your sanity.
And without just becoming a slave to the schedule. It suggests we aren't suffering from a lack of time, but maybe a lack of perspective.
Yes. We've got some incredible anecdotes to get through, including a really profound story about an author named Warren Wiersbe and a book recommendation called Dual Service that, honestly, it just flips the idea of work-life balance on its head.
It really does.
So let's jump right into the deep end with this idea of the prison of the clock. The source kicks off with a story about Warren Wiersbe.
Right, Wiersbe was a pretty heavyweight author, wrote a book called A Time to be Renewed. But this story, it catches him in a really human moment of weakness.
It does. The source describes him and his wife traveling to Africa for a mission conference. Now picture the scene. They've just been on a long-haul flight. They were physically wrecked.
Just exhausted, jet-lagged, dehydrated, you know the feeling, but mentally.
They're wired.
Totally wired.
Yeah.
I think anyone who travels for work knows this feeling. Your body is screaming sleep, but your brain is just screaming schedule.
Right. They're there to speak to hundreds of pastors. They have an agenda. They are ready to execute.
Exactly. They are American professionals, operating on what you might call Western industrial time. They're checking their watches, tapping their feet, wondering why the conference hasn't started at 9 a.m. sharp.
They are vibrating with this internal pressure. And this is where the cultural collision happens. An African leader at the conference is just watching them. He sees this frantic energy.
This nervous energy they're giving off. And he gives them an instruction that just completely floors them.
I mean, it's so simple.
It is. Oh. But it's so radical. He tells them, the first thing you must do is take off your wristwatch.
Take off your wristwatch. I have to say, if I was about to lead a major conference and someone told me that, I think I'd have a panic attack.
Of course.
My watch is the only thing tethering me to reality. It's how I know I'm in control.
But that's the illusion, isn't it? That's what the African leader was pointing out. In that specific context, Wiersbe had walked into a totally different relationship with time.
So he was basically saying, you are wearing a prison on your wrist.
Precisely. That their anxiety was self-inflicted. And the source says they actually did it. They took the watches off. And for the next few days, they learned to operate without that wrist prison.
They found a rhythm. Ate when they were hungry, slept when they were tired. It sounds idyllic.
It does. But, and here's the kicker, and why this is so relevant to our Monday morning struggle, the source notes that the moment they landed back in the United States,
the shackles went right back on.
Immediately. It describes them returning to the clock prison, back to deadlines, schedules, rushing. The peace just evaporated.
This raises a really uncomfortable question for us then, because we can't all just move to a village in Kenya and throw away our smartwatches. So what's the takeaway?
Well, the source asks us to reflect on this. In what areas of your life are you currently trapped by a timetable? It's not saying schedules are evil. It's asking, are you the master of the schedule, or is the schedule the master of you?
And on the flip side, it also asks, Where do you waste time while neglecting what's actually important? It feels like we just bounce between frantic busyness and total waste.
That's the prison. We're either running on the treadmill or collapsing off of it. We rarely just walk.
So how do we break out? Because the source takes a pivot here that I did not see coming. To solve this time management problem, it doesn't give us a calendar hack.
Right.
It starts talking about the end times.
It does. It moves from a management perspective to an eschatological one. It references the book of Peter.
Now, usually when I hear end times, I think of doomsday preppers and bunkers. You know, it usually implies panic.
Right. The world is ending, run for your lives. Or the opposite, nihilism. Nothing matters, let's just party. But the source argues for a completely different reaction.
Which is?
Prudence and prayer.
Prudence, that's an old school word.
It is, but think about the logic here.
Yeah.
The source argues that if you truly believe time is finite, whether because the world is ending or just because your own life is short, it shouldn't lead to panic. It should lead to hyper-focus.
It's like the ultimate deadline.
Exactly. Think about it at work. If a project is due in 6 months, you procrastinate. But if it's due in 1 hour, you become the most efficient person on the planet. You cut out the noise. You focus only on what is essential.
So an awareness of the end, an awareness of our own mortality is actually a productivity tool.
In a profound sense, yes. It argues that realizing life is short forces us to use our remaining time for things that have eternal value. It creates a filter. You stop asking, how do I fill this hour? And you start asking, does this hour matter?
That is a heavy but strangely motivating thought. But let's bring it back down to earth, because the reality for the audience of this source and for us listening is we still have to go to work on Monday morning.
Yes, the emails are still piling up. And the source acknowledges this friction. Remember, this was recorded for the Monday after the Lunar New Year.
Right, the biggest holiday of the year in that region. 9 whole days of freedom.
The source mentions that people have been resting. Their batteries should be fully charged. But we all know that re-entry is brutal. And since it's the year of the horse, in the source's context, the speaker uses this great metaphor.
Oh, the horse metaphor. I loved this pun.
The phrase is, Yi Ma Deng Shen.
Break that down for us.
So literally it means to take the lead. But the character Ma means horse. So it's a clever play on words for the year of the horse. The idea is that you aren't just dragging yourself back to the office, you're supposed to gallop out in front.
Which is, easier said than done when you've been sleeping in for a week. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak.
True. But the challenge the source poses is, how do you maintain the peace of the holiday, that watchless feeling, while re-entering a high-pressure environment?
And this leads us to the book recommendation, which I think provides the practical how-to for this whole dilemma. The book is called Dual Service.
Right, or Shuangzi Shifeng. This concept is really the intellectual core here. It addresses the problem that most of us have. We compartmentalize.
We put our lives in boxes.
We do. Box A is faith and life. This is where we are nice people, spend time with family, relax. Box B is work. That's where we grind, we stress, we make money, and we often shut off our values to get the job done.
And Dual Service says, what? Smash the boxes?
It says the boxes are an illusion. It argues that work is a part of the mission. The source highlights that the book lists 16 biblical figures who were basically career professionals. They weren't monks in a cave. They had high-pressure secular jobs.
The two that really stood out in the source were Daniel and Joseph. And looking at them as employees is actually fascinating.
It is. Take Daniel. We think of him in the lion's den, a very religious story. But what's his day job?
He was a government official.
A high-ranking government official in Babylon.
Yeah.
A bureaucrat in a foreign and hostile empire. But the source points out that he excelled. He wasn't just present. He was better at his job than anyone else. His faith made him a better administrator.
And then Joseph, talk about a hostile work environment. He was framed, thrown in prison.
And yet, he becomes the chief operating officer of the entire country of Egypt. The source uses Joseph to show that even in a difficult environment, he didn't abandon his principles. And because he was good at his job administration, logistics, he saved lives.
That's the key connection. His ministry wasn't preaching. His ministry was logistics.
Exactly. That is dual service. You aren't just serving your boss, you're serving a higher purpose through the excellence of your work.
Yeah.
The source explicitly mentions the salt and light argument.
Right. It says your professional identity, accountant, driver, engineer, whatever, is not separate from your personal identity.
And the line that stuck with me was that your attitude and your integrity is the witness. It's not about leaving pamphlets on desks. It's about Are you honest? Do you treat people with respect? Do you show up on time?
So if you're a lazy worker who's always late, it doesn't matter how spiritual you claim to be, your work is telling a different story.
Precisely. Incompetence compromises the message.
This actually segues perfectly into the final part of the source, which is a bit of a warning. It brings up the parable of the talents.
A famous story, but applied here specifically to that return-to-work mindset. You have the diligent servants who invest what they're given, and then the one who buries his talent in the ground.
And the description of the lazy person here is pretty funny, but also kind of stinging. The source says the person who buried the talent is the type who might sleep until they wake up naturally.
Which, let's be honest, is the dream for most of us on a Monday morning.
It sounds like self-care, but the source frames it as a negative. Why? Is sleeping in bad?
It's not about the sleep itself. It's about the engagement. The source argues that by sleeping until they wake up naturally and avoiding the work, the lazy servant misses out on the feast, the reward. The diligent person is called good and faithful because they engaged with what they were given.
So it's about stewardship, taking your time, your energy, your skills, and actually using them.
And the source emphasizes self-discipline here. It makes a really counterintuitive point that a person with high self-control is actually more helpful and positive than someone who is loose or just does whatever they want.
We usually think freedom means doing whatever we want, but the source is saying real freedom comes from discipline.
Think about it like a musician. The discipline of practicing scales every day gives you the freedom to play any song you want. If you're loose and never practice, you're technically free from the schedule, but you're trapped by your own inability to play.
That makes so much sense. So if I have the discipline to be excellent at my job, like Daniel, I have the freedom to make an impact. If I'm just loose, I'm actually a slave to my own laziness.
Exactly, and the source lists very mundane tasks where this applies. Organizing flowers in the church, cleaning, driving. These aren't glamorous. But the attitude you bring matters. It levels the playing field. Whether you're doing professional biology or sweeping a floor, the requirement is the same. Be good and faithful.
So to bring this all the way back to the prison of the clock, the source seems to be saying, even if we mentally take off the watch, like Wearsby did, to reduce our anxiety,
we still have to respect physiological time.
right?
We can't pretend time doesn't exist. We are in a season. We have limits. But the difference is our relationship to it. We respect time, but we don't fear it.
It's finding that sweet spot. You aren't panicked by the clock, but you aren't ignoring it either. You're using it to serve.
You become the steward of the clock, not the prisoner.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, let's try to synthesize all this. We started with the anxiety of the alarm clock, the story of taking off the wristwatch.
We moved to the idea that realizing our time is limited should make us focused, not fearful. That end times prudence.
Right, and then we looked at the challenge of galloping back to work after a holiday and how viewing our job as dual service really changes the game.
And finally, that call to be a good and faithful steward, rather than burying our talent just so we can sleep in.
It really all comes down to intent, doesn't it? The source asks us to look at our remaining life. That is a powerful phrase.
It's powerful, but it's just realistic. Whether the end comes from the world ending or just us passing away, the question is the same. The source asks, are you using your time for things that will last?
Or are you just checking boxes on a schedule until the timer runs out?
The source suggests that if we view our work, no matter how mundane, as a service with higher value, the prison of the clock just disappears.
Yeah.
The walls fall down. You aren't working for the weekend anymore, you're working for a purpose.
And suddenly, Monday morning doesn't look so bad. It looks like an opportunity.
A fresh start, a chance to be faithful with a new week.
Well, on that note, we want to thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Whether you're listening to this on a Monday commute, dreading your inbox, or maybe you're organizing flowers right now, we hope this gives you a fresh perspective on the time you have.
Indeed. Make it count.
Have a good and faithful week, everyone. We'll see you next time.